Live from the heart of New York City, it's the Morning Show with Mike and Juliet. Tuesday. Threats, lies, and around-the-clock harassment. How far will bill collectors go to get your money? M&J investigates the law-breaking tactics used to scare you into paying up.
All right, so we're going to move on to our next topic this morning. M&J investigates dun-dun, bill collectors. Have you ever been screamed at or threatened or insulted by any of these people?
These are just a couple or triple different types of dirty tricks there. Bill collectors use to get you to pony up the money. Come on. They can be very effective. But are these tactics legal?
No.
They call late at night to threaten.
But I'll give you till noon today. If I don't hear from you, I will have the sheriff's department at your doorstep.
To hurl humiliating insults.
What's going on? You just don't like paying your bills?
And to tell outright lies.
You don't pay your bills, you're trying to steal my bills.
These are the maddening tactics used by some debt collectors.
I started getting these calls from debt collectors that said that my husband had a student loan debt that hadn't been paid. And Danny was in Iraq at the time, you know, so I was all alone and I really didn't know, you know, what to do.
The collector said Deborah Johnson's husband, Danny, had defaulted on his college loans.
It was a student loan from college he'd gone to. It was for $1,900.
She needed a chance to figure out how to handle the problem with her husband overseas in combat. But nobody deserves to be mistreated like Deborah Johnson.
And they started calling at least, first it was once every other day.
Then the annoying calls turned to threats.
They yelled at me, they screamed at me, they called me a liar, they called me names. They threatened me that they were going to take my house, my car, everything I had. I just was terrified. Absolutely terrified, because I was all alone.
Deborah had to consider calling her husband in Iraq with all this while he was over there busy dodging bullets.
I didn't want to tell him he was already in a combat zone, and I didn't want to give him any more stress.
Deborah was panicked about losing everything.
I was scared to go to work, because I didn't know if I could, you know, when I came home, if anything would be gone. I had to tell Danny. I had to, and so I told him, and he was really upset.
Angry because he had said he'd paid off his student loans before enlisting in 1985. So Deborah told the debt collector he would have to deal with Danny when he got back.
They called me scum, and they said that I was just a liar.
Are these dirty tricks and disgraceful practices legal? And how can average people fight back?
Please welcome Deborah. She is here in our studio along with Mary Van Gleason, who also says she was harassed by bill collectors.
Also here, Mike Flanagan, who knows all too well the intimidating tactics used by bill collectors because he was once a bill collector himself.
And also you're looking at attorney Pete Berry to give us sort of the legal ramifications of this. But Deb, you put an alarm on your house. You actually thought that maybe this guy that was calling you and threatening you and calling you scum was going to show up at your house?
I didn't know the way they were talking and everything. I was afraid. I thought that maybe they would. I might come home from work someday and my car would be gone or my house would have yellow tape around it. I didn't know.
You really put an alarm system in because of the bill collector?
Yes.
Afraid he's going to bust in?
Yeah, I didn't know. They sounded very serious and they scared me.
Well, how'd you get it to stop? How'd you get them to stop calling?
I just didn't answer the phone anymore and called Pete.
Oh,
you got a lawyer. There you go. Mary, you basically went through the same thing. Except you were at work. Now, where did you work?
I work at a college in Minneapolis.
So you're working with teachers and students?
Yes, I work as a faculty secretary.
You got a little behind on your student loans.
I did. My husband got laid off, and I got behind on my bills, and they called me at work. And I could tell on the caller ID that it was them, but I work in a reception area, and I can't answer those kinds of phone calls there. So they had on two different occasions, had coworkers come to look to see if I was at my desk, if I was ignoring their calls, told them that I was being threatened with garnishment for my student loans.
Wait a minute. I mean, the bill collector got a hold. Okay, you're in this pool of people there.
Yes.
As a school secretary. They contacted the coworker and said, I need to talk to you, to Mary?
Yeah, they contacted one of them to ask if I was sitting at my desk, ignoring their calls. And another one they called and asked her to come and deliver a message to me.
Were you embarrassed?
I was incredibly embarrassed.
I was horrified.
I was very horrified, and beyond that, I believe it's really affected, you know, my chances at my job to
So the co-workers kind of picked up on, oh, she's behind on her bills. That
Oh,
is
yes,
embarrassing.
absolutely.
They treat you any differently?
They do.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I've expressed interest in several positions at the college. I never got any response back from it. I used to be invited to potlucks and that sort of thing, and no more. I think because I work at a school and I was delinquent on my student loans. The environment there.
Well, people should understand sometimes, you know, your husband's laid off. I mean, times get tough. Mike, you are one of those people on the other side of the phone line.
Yes, ma'am.
Yelling at people. Now, I'm going to yell at you right now. What? No, some of the things that you did, though, were you trained to just be horrible to people? Or was it just something in your soul that made you do that?
Well, first of all, in collections, you leave your soul at home. But when you first start in collections, you're given the speech of this is the law, you will follow it exactly to the letter. But once you actually become a collector and actually get on the floor, you realize that all these other people are bending and or breaking the law, and they're getting more money, and they're getting a bigger paycheck.
What do you mean getting more money?
In my experience, 13 years, every single collection job has had a direct tie to what you collect, either by commission or by bonuses at the end of the year or by potential for promotion. The more you collect, the more money you get, the higher you go. There is a direct financial correlation between the money I get from you and the money that I take home to my family. So that will make me do whatever I can to get your money.
And all sorts of stuff does happen. Here are a few examples of harassing calls from debt collectors. Hold on.
I'll give you till noon today. If I don't hear from you, I will have the sheriff's department at your doorstep.
You're a piece of I'll pay your bill. Tuesday, 9:40 a.m. This is Mr. White. You can go on vacation for a whole week, but you can't pay your obligation. This is Mr. White. You have a leg to stand on.
Oh, you said you were a debt collector for 13 years. Now, how many of those years were you like this?
Out of 13 years, probably 12 years and 11 months.
What changed you?
What made me stop? There's something in collection called collector's faith. The undeniable belief that you can collect this money and that you have a righteous belief that they owe it and you will get it. And the debtors are wrong. You go after the debtors.
Was there one call that made you snap?
I talked to the sister of a woman named Kim Bowers, and she was blocking me. You can't talk to Kim. You can't have anything to do with Kim. And you're trained to get around them. And I was very rude to her, and she blatantly told me, you can't talk to her. I said, why? Where is Kim right now? And I was very rude. Kim Bowers was in the World Trade Center. And my belief that every debtor was a piece of scum, and every call I would just do what I could to get them, it was gone. Kim did not pay her bill, not because she was irresponsible or some sort of social pariah. She didn't pay her bill because she was murdered.
And 9/11.
And 9/11. And I couldn't do it anymore. And my staff realized I couldn't do it anymore. And my collection started dropping. And 3 of my collectors got caught breaking the law, actually got caught by Pete. And, and my boss took me into his office and said, they broke the law, fire them. I told him, we can't fire them. We taught him to do this. We trained them. And he looked me in the eyes and says, you fire them or you're fired.
But you guys get so into it. Like, I may owe Bank of America, but it seems like I owe you.
Yes, make it personal. Make it directly about me and you.
What you didn't outright, like, insult people at times, though.
Yes.
Did you? You did?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever, like, scream curses at them?
No.
But you did other things. You had other tactics.
Absolutely.